The morning light streamed through the curtains as she stared at her reflection. 17 years old, in her last year of school, she had everything she could want. Good looks, popularity, and confidence that radiated from every inch of her athletic frame. Every day she saw heads turn when she walked past the boys, their eyes inevitably drawn to her toned body and long, silky black hair that cascaded down to her waist. Her hair was her pride, something she spent hours maintaining. It was what made her feel powerful, unique, and in control. She loved the attention. At the gym, in school, or on social media, she thrived on the praise. The boys messaged her constantly, and she never hesitated to engage, even when it distracted her from her studies. Her rebellion didn't stop there. At school, despite the strict uniform code, she paraded around in shorts and casual streetwear, flaunting her figure, knowing it irked the teachers. They had warned her time and again, but she didn't care. Why should she? She knew how good she looked, and she wasn't going to let anyone tell her otherwise. Her mother, Amanda, had been receiving complaints from the school. At 39, Amanda was just as stunning as her daughter. With long, flowing hair and a sharp, no-nonsense attitude, one afternoon she was called to school to discuss the situation. The teachers had had enough. They couldn't get through to her daughter. Amanda listened, her face unreadable, but she knew she had to take matters into her own hands. When Amanda arrived home, the confrontation began. "You're out of control. This has to stop," Amanda said, her voice firm but measured, as she stood in the doorway of her daughter's room. But the teenager barely glanced up from her phone. "It's not a big deal, Mom. They're just jealous," she said dismissively, rolling her eyes. Amanda's patience was thinning. "No, they're not jealous. They're concerned about your behavior. You're throwing your future away." She waved it off. "I'm fine. Seriously." Amanda wasn't going to argue further. She left her daughter alone for the time being. But a plan was forming in her mind. That night, after her daughter had gone to bed, Amanda quietly crept into her room. Her daughter, who often slept with her hair tied up in a ponytail, lay peacefully unaware. Amanda glanced at the sports clothes strewn across the floor, picked them up, and thought about the defiance they symbolized. But it wasn't enough. Her eyes then fell on her daughter's long black hair. Tied neatly in a ponytail, and without a second thought, Amanda grabbed a pair of scissors from her pocket. In one swift motion, she cut the ponytail at shoulder length, leaving the rest of the hair uneven and jagged. She quietly placed the severed ponytail in a drawer and left the room. The next morning, Gabby woke up with an uneasy feeling. As her hand reached behind her head to untie her hair, she froze. It wasn't there, at least not the way it used to be. She scrambled out of bed, rushing to the mirror, and gasped at the sight. Her hair, her beautiful long hair, was now cut short and uneven. Tears immediately welled up in her eyes. "Mom," she screamed, storming into the kitchen, where Amanda was having coffee. "What did you do?" Amanda calmly sipped her coffee before answering. "I did what had to be done," she said, not looking up. "Your behavior is out of control. This is your punishment." Gabby, now fully in tears, clutched her short hair. "You had no right," she cried. "You can't just cut my hair off." Amanda finally looked up. "I warned you, Gabby," Amanda, 39, said sternly. "You didn't listen, and if you keep ignoring me, I'll shave your head completely." Gabby's face turned pale. "You wouldn't," she whispered. Amanda's expression remained cold. "Try me." Furious and devastated, Gabby grabbed her things and stormed out of the house. She headed straight to her stylist, her tears barely dry. When she arrived, she explained what had happened, her voice shaking with anger and sadness. "She just cut it all off while I was sleeping." Gabby, 17, sobbed. "Can you fix it?" "I need hair extensions. Anything to make me look like myself again." The stylist nodded sympathetically, getting to work. Soon, Gabby's long locks were restored with extensions, but the pain of what had happened still lingered. Once the extensions were in place, Gabby looked at herself in the mirror and felt a small sense of relief, though the fear of what her mother might do next loomed over her. Not wanting to go home, Gabby went to her friend Caddy's house and told her everything. Caddy was horrified. That's crazy. I can't believe she did that. Caddy, 18, said, shaking her head. Gabby sighed, still trying to process everything. I don't know what I'm going to do, she said. I can't face her right now. As the day went on, Amanda, realizing Gabby hadn't come home, grew angrier. She suspected her daughter was at Caddy's house, and after a quick call to Caddy's mother, her suspicion was confirmed. Amanda drove to Caddy's house, her face set in a hard line. When she arrived, she didn't waste time on pleasantries. We're leaving now, Amanda said, grabbing Gabby by the arm. No, I don't want to go home, Gabby protested. But Amanda wasn't having it. You don't get a choice, Amanda said coldly, dragging her to the car. Once they were home, Amanda sat Gabby down in the living room. You didn't learn your lesson, did you? Amanda asked, her voice quiet but filled with fury. Gabby's heart raced. Please, Mom, don't do this, she begged, tears already welling up. Without responding, Amanda reached into the drawer, where she had hidden Gabby's ponytail, and pulled it out. She held it up in front of Gabby, her expression hard. You see this? Amanda said. This was just the start. You need to understand that your actions have consequences. Gabby shook her head, panicking. No, please, I'm sorry, she pleaded. But Amanda had already made up her mind. She grabbed the razor from the table, switched it on, and the sound filled the room. Gabby's eyes widened in horror as Amanda approached. You'll understand one day, Amanda said. You'll learn humility, and until you do, this is what will happen. With that, Amanda brought the razor to Gabby's head and began shaving away the hair that had barely reached her shoulders. Gabby cried and tried to pull away, but Amanda held her firm, the buzz of the razor sobs. Strand by strand, her hair fell to the floor, leaving nothing but bare skin behind. When it was over, Amanda stood back, looking at her daughter's tear-streaked face. This is for your own good, Amanda said, her voice soft but unyielding. You'll be shaved every week until you prove to me that you've changed. Later that evening, Amanda hammered a small nail into the wall of Gabby's room. She hung the severed ponytail there, letting it dangle like a grim reminder. This will stay here, Amanda said, as Gabby sat silently on her bed, her head now smooth and bald. Every time you see it, I want you to remember why this happened, and maybe then you'll start focusing on what really matters. Gabby, her eyes still filled with tears, said nothing, knowing that her life, her image, and everything she valued had just been shattered beyond repair. The next morning, Amanda woke her daughter early, razor in hand. It's time for your weekly shave, she said, her tone cold as ever. Gabby blinked groggily, her heart sinking as the reality of her situation hit her again. Mom, please, Gabby mumbled, her voice still thick with sleep. Do we have to do this? I've learned my lesson. Amanda stood firm, crossing her arms. You think 1 week is enough? Amanda said, raising an eyebrow. I warned you. This will be your routine until I see real change. Gabby sat up, rubbing her bald head. The feeling's still strange to her, but it's humiliating. I can't go anywhere like this. Amanda didn't soften. That's the point, she said, setting the razor on the bedside table. You've been too focused on your appearance for too long. Now you'll learn that your value isn't tied to your looks. Gabby's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't fight it this time. She sat silently as Amanda took the razor, its buzz loud in the quiet room. This is for your own good, Amanda said, as she began to run the razor over her daughter's scalp, ensuring it was smooth and hairless once again. Gabby wiped at her tears, too defeated to argue anymore. How long do I have to keep doing this? She asked softly. Amanda paused, looking her daughter in the eyes. As long as it takes, she said. When you've proven that you've changed, when you stop caring about vanity and focus on your future, then and only then will you be allowed to grow your hair back.